Welcome back. Things aren't looking exactly hunky-dory over in the world of Higurashi, and to be fair, I don't think we expected them to. So, is today going to be the start of a new little timeline? Once again, the events rewinding from to before the Cotton Festival thing. Quite a few questions are being raised. Not sure how or why, but definitely not looking good. With so many extra events happening, seemingly almost out of place, are we actually being shown things in the correct order, or are things happening out of sequence and we're just being kind of loosely put together as a single plot line each time? The more I see it, the more bits seem to be left out and opening some questions. But yeah, we need to see more, so let's sit down and begin. Not where I expected to start. There's the van man again. Not where I expected to start off. Having the time away from the small town and village. Yeah. Bit of a giveaway when he was wearing a name tag. The time-killing chapter. Or the time-killing chapter part 1. So, one actual question that's been on mine for a while is, remember right back in the first section where he was losing his mind and someone tried to run him off the road? Was that something that actually happened, or just a car passed by and he was like, "They're out to get me"? But now they're back and interacting with other characters and kids. Maybe that question is going to actually be answered somewhat. I have several thoughts in my mind, but I think much like this show is trying to portray, each and every one of them could be true simultaneously if it's pushing the curse and mental illness and demons and possession, etc. Ministry of Construction. So we're getting into the dam, the people surrounding it. Well, actually, all of this, why it all kicked off. So he's being sent off to the rural countryside. It might be a bust, but any and all eventualities and possibilities need to be accounted for. She is quite understanding, which could only mean bad things for the future for this dude. And why exactly? Oh, they're short-handed. Was there a volcanic gas eruption in the previous episode? What was that about? That came out of nowhere. Seeing his eyes move in individual frames like that. Well, good that he's not uh, facing issues immediately upon arrival. Organized crime. Oh, is he back to the kind of cheerful routine? Was he going to be more confrontational like the last time we saw him? First day meeting a somewhat friendly face, being taken around. And from what we've seen, they seem to hold a particular sway, especially with that little dungeon down below. How much about the reason he's actually here does he know? Hmm. He's quick off the mark. Quite the poker face, obviously. No wonder he's the rookie. I mean, having someone to actually help him out in some fashion might be good, but hmm, getting on the inside there, is that going to actually help him out though? Hmm. I mean, we've had some photographers and everyone just come around, haven't they? This village is a bit of a beauty spot. And most of the swelling music on this. But for the first villager other than the detective that he met, being her, I don't think that's his name, but if that's what she wants to call him. What was the sentence? Okay. Turn around, get back on the bus. I know some of the characters have their idiosyncrasies and little quirks, but what is this whole me thing? And why was that so prominent just then? And suddenly she burst out of nowhere. Her vocabulary is amazing. Ah. So I see all pleasantries and honorifics being dropped there. Is that something that she's known for, considering her role in the ceremony and whatnot, or is this Omitake? Or is this something to actually latch onto and pay attention to in this episode? I mean, we still have a whole bunch of old style phone boxes and whatnot around here, so even though they're not used as such. Hmm. Is hopefully that face just then wasn't because she knows about what's about to happen in the rest of this storyline. Well, not quite just as suspicious as being invited to a random home, but one of the three families. Hmm. Right into the belly of the beast straight away. Not something he can agree with. But he's also not really in a place to provide conversation about this, is it? Is it because of the big words, or because he doesn't agree with the point that the village is trying to do? Hmm. A fine plea, to be fair. It's fine trying to do things diplomatically and peacefully, but when the powers that be don't listen, what options do you have other than turning to curses? Why does he look like he'd be straight out of Hunter Hunter or something? Hmm. Is I've forgotten his name already. Praising the village and its wonderful vistas. It'll get him far around here. Actually, that is a good view. She knows that with certainty, but also seeing this being a kind of previously, knowing it does actually get stopped, but not in a peaceful way that he would want. Because they will make sure of it, regardless of what you do. Is she reading the script of what's to happen later? Then who is making the decision? sudden back gust, and a change in demeanour. Fair enough. And the rest is up to him as what? If he abides by this warning or not? Or is there more of a role for him to play here? Ha 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 ha. Me? Thought so. Split between two personalities, one with a two-word vocabulary, and one with a sinister appeal. He knows when when to leave. Considering he, despite being a detective and predominantly in a few of the stories, getting right into the questioning, has stayed somewhat safe throughout all of it. Why is that? We're getting a few names, and the fact that before the dam, well, before that took the nosedive that the plan that it did, seeing all three families come together for a secret meeting. Did they have someone on the inside to relaying this information, or a microphone or something? Ha ha ha. It is where they were born and raised. They can't leave it now. And they would defend it with wild abandon. Even. An eye for an eye. And yet how did she know? Who passed the message on? They lost a mother, they lose a son. What, because it... Oh. Well, that took slightly a better turn than I thought. Well, at least in the words being used, they don't wish him any immediate harm, but still. Who was the orders directed at? Just a general will for something? But there's at least some suspicions levied against them now, so he can't just head back immediately. Then it's probably best he wears a stab vest as well. Doesn't seem to be a laughing matter. He... And this investigator, did he go missing? interrupting the important meeting not to show the drawing. She seems to be well informed about a lot of things. And despite Mion being at the talks here, she's off just drawing on her own. Why'd she get preferential treatment? And is that why she was waiting at the bus stop there to greet him on his journey and his introduction? Hmm. Yeah, this is definitely too much for one man to handle. They definitely should have, even if they are stretched a little thin, sent at least some backup. Or at least he should call it in and say, yeah, maybe I can't do this one by myself. Hopefully I didn't wake you. They always say that, despite even calling at 6 in the morning. Can he come and pick it up, perchance? I didn't see what the wording was. Ah. Is that a student ID? Oh. Was it found on just in plain view? Like it was dumped there for them to actually find? There goes the stab vest. After hearing the story, I don't think anyone should really turn it down. Do they have one in his size? How well funded is this department? But also, following a story of someone investigating before the dam project was concluded, one that has such a happy family life with a baby on the way. But they're also brings a thought to mind. What was it that Rika said to Keiichi? Something about she'll be the one protecting things. Is she the arbiter of the land itself? Now, obviously, we know a bit about what's happened with the dam and those that were victims after the fact. And it was starting kicked off because of the worker that was. Are things changing? Did this always happen? Was there always the kidnapping that was held under wraps? Hmm. The yellow top. But I think, despite just trying to do his job, trying to pose as a photographer, which maybe he was actually interested in some of the things he was photographing, that wasn't a lie, but still, having been given such a warning, head back now, it's in your best interest, was that the side of Rika, whichever, whoever or whatever it actually was, genuinely concerned for him, trying to help out, or just a thinly veiled threat? and completely going against the ideas of like a curse or demons. Now we'll get into conspiracies and powerful families. I do find it kind of interesting that we're going away from the characters that we're used to, focusing on some guy just down here, maybe on a day trip. Where the higher ups probably didn't expect much from this little rural town. Might change their opinion if he was to suddenly become a lot less able to fulfill his duty. But still, with it being so confined, even though we've got the three families at the table there, being mostly around Rika. The previous episode where she was just lying out in front of the shrine, we've got a fair few years to go before we catch up with that timeline. So anything here might not be quite as final. At least for everyone except the investigator. They really did have to bring up the fact he's got a rather caring wife and child on the way. Otherwise, we might not care all too much about his potential fate. Or maybe it's a very important point to the story. With mothers and children's and kind of exchanges going on. How far will he go to protect the peace? And will his own methods and outlooks, how long will they last? Do things without violence as peacefully as possible, the rule of law and diplomacy, democracy even. How would it fall to the wayside when either he or his family are in danger? We'll have to see. This is interesting. I think a little slower than previous episode, mainly because it has to try and introduce some new stuff, some new concepts, a new time, new characters. But there's definitely some intrigue here. And I wonder what things that have been mentioned in this episode that is unlocked bits earlier on if I go back and watch it. But what exactly is the deal with Rika? The alternate there who knows some big words, some proper way to handle themselves, and especially the honorific thing. Maybe it's just because she's part of the great and powerful families that she's able to just call normal people by their names rather than any sort of formality. Or maybe it's because she's not exactly just a small girl. Either way, how many more me's are we going to be assaulted with before this little arc is over? To be able to find out, we're going to have to watch more. If you enjoyed this one, though, definitely let me know. I feel like there's quite a bit in the talking that has gone over my head. I feel myself blanking out part of the speech with the families. You need to fill in for me if I got something wrong or something important has just slipped by. But still, if you enjoyed, let me know. Leave a like and comment down below. Consider subscribing. Maybe join to my Discord if you want to have a little bit more conversation. But for now, get yourselves a bit of rest. So I can see you in the next one.